That's Freaking Phil or That's Freaking Punk, because Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk, has done it again. Welcome to the TFW podcast, episode 36. This is Love to See That. I am your host, Matt, joined, as always, by Rhodesia and Eshaun. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on today?
You know what I'm about to say. I'm ready to talk some wrestling, and clearly we about to talk some Phil Brooks.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? Let's talk some wrestling.
Hey, real talk,
right.
though, for real, before we get started on that, I just have to bring this up. I know this is a wrestling podcast, and sorry for anybody who's got to hear this for a moment. But this NBA lottery that we had 2 nights ago, y'all all know we from Detroit. How in the holy hell we lose 65 games, right? 65 games, I think? 65 games. 60 games. So we stand up here coming up pick number 5. NBA, how y'all be doing y'all math? Because I don't understand this math. But again, I know the math ain't mathing. Like, for real. Anyway, so I'm sorry. I digress. Let's talk about this Phil Brooks.
And I knew we had no shot. And I let y'all hype me up and gas me up thinking there was an opportunity. There was a chance we would get the number 1 pick. And what happened?
Nope.
Nothing. Not a damn thing. Anywho, let's start on some sad news. Superstar Billy Graham, the first wrestler that I can remember seeing where I knew what I was watching was not normal, quote unquote. He was Scott Steiner before Scott Steiner was Scott Steiner. He was the first body guy. He actually was the first to say brother on TV. Oh. Hogan took that from him. There was a lot that was taken from Superstar Billy Graham. You can ask Ric Flair, you can ask Hogan, ask Steiner. There's a few people that took some things from
Jesse Ventura.
1000% Jesse Ventura. So I know Superstar Billy Graham was before a lot of the fan base's time, because even when I was watching, he was early into that time, but he did pass away this week. So we want to, of course, give our thoughts and condolences. Looks like, according to TMZ, his wife, Valerie, he was in ICU for 3 weeks, it said, and he had various health issues. They wanted to take him off of life support on Monday, but she refused to take him off of life support. I guess they had some conversations and she finally did it. But it said here, Billy's recent health issues took a toll on his body. His family says he lost 45 pounds while suffering from congestive heart failure, diabetes, hearing loss, and a significant infection in his ears and skull. And you hate to hear that. We also were told that his kidneys were failing. So Superstar was 79 years old. The thing about Superstar Billy Graham was he did not hide his steroid use. And Superstar had been having some, failing health issues. I remember reading an article at least 10 years ago about kind of where his body was at and where his health was because of the steroid use and the things that he put his body through back then. Just a massive guy. I mean, I'm talking his body was damn near like in a circular shape. He was so huge and so big. But of course, shout out to Superstar Billy Graham. Thoughts and prayers to his family. Of course, Rhodesia, I know this is way before your time. Eshaun, anything you remember from Superstar Billy Graham back in the day?
I got to be honest with you. That was before my time of watching wrestling. But, once I got hooked on wrestling, I kind of became like almost like a historian. And I would go and I would get the books. I remember there was a book. I can't think of the name, but I've been trying to find it. My brother had it. And it had like a who's who of the wrestling world. And it had the missing link in it and all those old characters. Superstar Billy Graham was in there. And I just thought these guys were just larger than life. And he was front and center. As I got a little more older and mature, I learned that, Hogan, took a lot of his act from Superstar, Jesse Ventura. You know, it was obvious once we saw Scott Steiner, right? The Big Papa Pump character looked very similar to Superstar
Just
as well.
like him.
Yeah, so, you know, sad news. You know, he was a big part of wrestling. You know, he motivated a lot of wrestlers to become wrestlers, and, you know, they took some things from him and really gave him some great memories. So, you know, thoughts and prayers to his family. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Great thing was he was absolutely celebrated and honored while he was still with us. I think he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame back in 2004. So he absolutely had, you know, time to know what people appreciate about him and things of that nature. Of course, it doesn't make it any easier for his family and friends. But once again, rest in peace to Superstar Billy Graham, the first guy that I remember seeing on my television. And it was just like, whoa, this is different. So I started by talking about it, guys. Let's get into it. Phil Brooks, CM Punk. There's a lot that is rumor and innuendo right now. Okay, so we're going to try to cut through the rumors and kind of just get to what we know. Before we get to that, let's kind of talk about why his name has come up over the past few weeks, and that is the official announcement from Tony Khan and WBD a couple days ago at the upfronts that Collision is a real thing. So shout out to AEW for that. We talked about it last week. They're here to stay. Now, if anybody thought that, hey, maybe they would be kind of like not here to stay, they are here to stay now. So that is official. It is Saturdays from 8 to 10 Eastern, 7 to 9 Central. Let's start with the logo. There's a lot of conversation online about the logo. What's your guys' thoughts on the logo? Of course, looking just like the WCW Nitro logo.
I'm pulling it up now. I apologize. Let's see. Is this how Nitro looked?
Yeah, it's very, very, very similar. I thought it was pretty cool, to be honest with you. Yeah. You know, when I first saw it, I didn't pay that much attention to it, but when someone pointed out, I was like, God dang, that is the exact same logo. That's kind of fitting, right? Because you look at the set and style, it's AEW seeming to play kind of homage to, you know, WCW in a lot of ways, which is kind of very, very strange because you obviously, you know, Tony Khan loved and was a fan of WCW. And for Eric Bischoff to pull his pants down and crap over AEW
every
and Tony
chance
Khan
he gets. Every chance
he gets, right? That's funny because that's the theme song of my modded character in 2K this year. Every chance I get. Okay. Little baby. But every time Eric Bischoff is, you know, Tony Khan is almost like writing a love letter to this man. And Eric Bischoff pulls his pants down any moment he can, which is strange to see because guess what, Eric? There's a whole book written about how incompetent you were when you ran that company and how inept you were booking wise. So for you to sit back here as a 70-year-old man and act like you are this booking genius, where obviously the past tells us you were different, it's just astonishing. But I digress. Continue.
Sheesh.
What's your thoughts of it, Rhodesia? Seeing it now, I guess you probably don't know that was a Nitro logo. Mm-hmm. So
it was the same colors too?
Same, yeah.
Lovely. Yep. I mean, I like how this looks. I mean, it's in my face. It kind of gives me an idea or a feeling of a collision or some type of fight or something that's about to go head to head. So I like how it looks. I mean, I just think that Eshaun Cyrate, he just went on right there, is pretty funny. Because if this is looking just like Nitro's old logo and the heat he had with him, it's pretty funny. I like it though. No complaints on it at all.
I think it looks great. But I hate it.
Oh, why is that?
I hate it. Because it is a Nitro logo.
Let me pull up now.
And I feel like there is a little too much homage to WCW.
Ooh, sheesh.
WCW was bought by WWF. They went out of business. So to me, modeling anything like a logo for a new show to that company, to me, just makes it feel so second rate. I like the way it looks. I think it looks great. If I didn't know it was a Nitro logo, I would say, damn, this looks better than the Dynamite logo. This is one of the best logos in wrestling. But, of course, living through WCW and Nitro, I have an issue with a lot of, let's kind of do it the way WCW did it. Let's do it the way WCW did it. That's my issue. I don't like being connected that closely to a company that went out of business. And then that was bought by, right now, your direct competitor.
So
yeah, I get that.
Aren't they both TNT? I know this is WBD, but I'm looking at them side by side, and Nitro had the TNT in there, and AEW is on TNT. Maybe they had something to do with Final Images?
I would imagine so. But, I don't really have a huge problem with it because I don't think a lot of their audience is very familiar with WCW or has even a special part in their life, right? Because, a lot of the newer fans probably got on to WWE once the whole WCW folded anyway, right? And it's kind of like one of those things, kind of like the Bullet Club, where they took so much from the NWO and the Click from back in the days and made it new again and made it fresh again. It's kind of like one of those remixes, right? It's like one of those things that it was old, but now it's new again, and you freshen up, you bring it back. I feel like it's fine. And I like to think of WCW. I don't think of WCW in the dying days. I hold it fondly in my heart from back when it was hot. Like right when NWO was hot, when Sting was hot, man, like that was a important time of, I don't want to say childhood, right? We were teenagers at that time. But that was just an important time for me because that was back when wrestling was hot. That's back when wrestling was cool. That's back when everybody talked about it. So that's what I think of when I think about WCW. So I love the logo in that regards, just paying homage and respect to it. It's on the same station. First time they've had wrestling on that station in, 20 years or whatever it was, on a Saturday. Let's celebrate history. Let's celebrate the best of the history, not the worst of it. Let's make something that was old new again. Let's freshen it up. I think they did a good job.
So we get the logo and a couple of interesting things that did not come out of the upfronts that we thought maybe would. One was no talk of contract extension or new money for AEW. Remember that $1 billion number was thrown out there last week. Nothing about what the new contract or TV rights look like. Okay. Probably the bigger thing, no CM Punk. There was talks and thoughts that he would be at the upfronts. No. Definitely thoughts he would be on the promotional poster for Collision. We know where he was supposed to go. He was supposed to go dead center in that middle. They have Orange Cassidy and MJF there. So that was kind of interesting. So then this happens on Wednesday. You guys, I'm sure, have heard, so I am not going to deep dive this. Meltzer reported that, hey, there's some issues. Now, there's something going on where he was supposed to be on the poster. He was told to be pulled off of all promotional marketing and the information that went out. Punk was hey, let's pull him off. He was still left on one of the documents. His name, I think, was number 1. It started CM Punk, et cetera, et cetera. We know that the United Center is booked. It is still booked as of right now as we record this podcast on Thursday night. It is still booked for that.
But Tony
Saturday.
didn't mention it on Dynamite where it's going to be at yet. He said this coming Wednesday we'll tell you.
Said next week he'll tell us, which would only leave 3 weeks to sell out that arena when Dynamite and Rampage tickets have already gone on sale weeks ago for that following Wednesday. I think that's very interesting. So that was kind of the information before Dynamite. It was like, hey, Punk's not on the promotional material. Sounds like there's some issues. Is he still coming? Is he not coming? So that was yesterday. Today, and shout out to Nick Hausman, the original troublemaker. This entire thing at Brawl Out started at Nick Hausman.
Oh, this Nick. Okay. I know exactly who this guy is.
He had an awesome article on his website, houseofwrestling.com. So what we heard yesterday allegedly was the holdup is Ace Steel. Punk wants Ace Steel back. Something happened yesterday where it was like, nope, we are not going to bring Ace Steel on the road to Collision. And CM Punk says, well, this is an issue. I have an issue with it. That was what we heard yesterday. Now it's kind of coming from Meltzer and Alvarez and those guys. Punk gets on Instagram Lives, tell tribalistic fans to touch grass, and Alvarez, you piece of shit, you don't know what you're talking about. That's basically what he said.
So that's denying it, right?
Correct. So today, Houseman releases that AEW rehired Ace Steel months ago. He basically just talked about, of course, he kind of talked about Collision, et cetera, et cetera. He says House of Wrestling can confirm that Ace Steel was rehired by AEW several months ago, but had not been actively working in the backstage area. Steel was terminated by the company shortly after the locker room altercation following AEW All Out, but was rehired shortly after. Upon Steel rehiring, he was told he would be working with Tony Khan on creative in some capacity, but his presence backstage would upset some of the talent. So for that reason, Steel has been working remotely for the company for the past few months. There was an understanding in place that once Collision debuted, Steel would return to the role for AEW, working as an agent on that brand. However, on Tuesday, the decision was made not to bring Steel back on the road with the promotion, and Punk learned of it shortly after. Following that, there was some miscommunication between lawyers, and subsequently, Punk was pulled from the Collision announcement. Here's probably the most important thing out of this entire thing. That said, Punk is still with AEW, and it sounds like he is motivated and wants to help the company's growth however he can. Punk's relationship with Tony Khan also appears to be on sound footing, with no issues between the two men and communication remaining open. So, summarize that. There was some type of miscommunication, but everything is still quote unquote all good. Punk is still with AEW, still has a job, and we're going to still take it as we'll hear on Wednesday. Collision's first show is going to be at the United Center, and they got 3 weeks to sell one of the biggest basketball arenas in the United States out. So, let's get some thoughts on this. Let's kind of stay away from the rumor piece. Let's just stick to what we know. And allegedly, what we know is Punk is still with AEW. Ace Steel is absolutely still with AEW. And we're going to assume he's coming back next week. Let me ask you guys this. Is there anybody else in professional wrestling outside of Roman Reigns that, if there's an inkling of truth to this, is worth the headache as CM Punk is?
As a wrestling fan, no. But if you're saying that his relationship with Tony is still rock solid, on solid footing, then this may not even be an issue or concern to Tony. So to him, this would be worth it. For me, though, as a wrestling fan, what the heck? This is so much around him. And I love him as a wrestler, but God, dog, it's always something.
So this news that you just gave us is very interesting, but it's coming from wrestlers and promoters and journalists. I mean, we don't know what's true and what's not, right? I just know as a wrestling fan, I'm just tired of it. I don't keep that drama away from my wrestling. I don't want it to bleed over. I don't know if this is a work. I don't know the shoot. I don't know what's not. Keep this stuff off of my radar. Right? I'll watch wrestling as an escape because it feels good. I love it. This type of stuff doesn't feel good. I don't know if their relationship between Tony Khan and CM Punk is solid. We have to hear from the two of them, right? How solid it is. But at the end of the day, man, Punk has so much negativity surrounding his name that as a fan, it's just very, I won't say disheartening. It's very upsetting. We should be focusing on a new show, right? Mm-hmm. With new stars and stars returning. We got my man Miro coming back. We got Andrade coming back. We had the House of Black on the cover. I mean, that looks like a great show and a potentially great show for the future. That's what we should be talking about. We shouldn't be talking about, CM Punk woke up and farted and everybody mad about it. We shouldn't be talking about that right now. We should be talking about the positive stuff. So for me, I hope whatever they need to get take care of, they take care of it. I didn't think much about him not being on the poster. I still thought they might have been trying to do a surprise type thing. I thought he's, going to pop up maybe announce it like the week before or whatever the case may be. But I'm just hoping they can get their house in order. And that's the key thing I've been saying for a long time. AEW, get your house in order. Keep this drama out of the news, out of people's mouths. Focus on promotion and growing your company. That's all I care about as a fan.
You talked about the poster. When I first saw the poster, outside of recognizing that the logo was the old Nitro logo, once again, logo looks great. Okay.
You don't like it.
These people on this poster, take out Samoa Joe.
Okay.
Take out Hobbs. They all have some type of heat, or they've asked out of their contract at some point or another in AEW. Thunder Rosa, we know the heat she has with Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, et cetera, et cetera. MJF is just a heat magnet anyway. He booked his own plane to get out of Vegas last Double or Nothing. We know about that. Andrade slapped Sammy. He was sent home for months. FTR teased they were going back to WWF. Miro choked up Sammy, and he was sent home. Aleister Black asked to be let go out of his contract, allegedly. Well, I guess my girl Julia, no.
Wait, Miro choked Sammy? When that happened?
Oh, you didn't know about that?
No.
Yeah, it was backstage before Dynamite. That's where he's been this entire time. And then we know our boy Buddy thought that he could get away with maybe saying like, hey, can I get out? And it was like, hell no, y'all coming back together. I think that's hilarious. I think this show could be like the
true outcast.
Yeah, like that is a hell of a lineup though. That is a hell of a roster. Hell of a roster. And then the cool thing too is kind of getting back to wrestling. Word was a couple weeks ago that CM Punk had petitioned for Samoa Joe to be his first feud. And we know the history they've had in Ring of Honor. Talk about promos. Oh my goodness. Sign me up for that. So I'm hoping
I'm not familiar with that.
Oh my goodness.
It sounds like it'll be good.
Oh man. That was kind of one of the feuds that really put ROH on the map.
Cool.
Was Punk and Samoa Joe. Yep. But I thought that was funny. When I saw that, I was like, look at these heat magnets.
Yeah, I saw the same thing, right? Like everybody who went out of the contract at one point in time on this show.
Work Saturday night. Work Saturday Night Live. How about that?
Everybody that had problems with the elite at some point in time is on that show. It's funny. But damn, going back to Sammy, man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, Sammy, you ain't doing something right, man. So many people smacking you up and choking you on site, brother. I mean,
he said on Wednesday though that he's made a lot of mistakes. So,
yep. And that was the first thing I thought about too. Him. Like, yeah, between that, Eddie. Now, granted, I mean Eddie was wrong too for that, but actually Eddie choked him. I think Andrade smacked him. If I got that right.
And he said Miro did too.
Yeah, he got down on it too. Some other really cool news about Collision that just came out tonight is Bryan Danielson is helping on creative for Collision. Cool. That should be a ton of fun. We know how great his wrestling mind is. So if he can get his ideas to really help and get that show started, I'm excited. I am really, really excited for Collision. Because I feel like it has to be the A show for at least a few weeks. It has to. It has to be something that happens where we say, as an AEW fan, we can't miss this Saturday, no matter how we watch it, DVR, whatever the case may be. So I'm excited. And once again, the business is super, super healthy. Anything else around Collision or the CM Punk piece that you guys want to discuss?
Last thing is, if that's a soft brand split, like that roster is phenomenal. I can't wait, man. It's on a Saturday. Like, God, I wish it was on any other day but a Saturday.
And then you think 1, 2, 3. So it's 4 weeks away. 4 weeks from this Saturday. We have Double or Nothing next weekend. Speaking of, check this out. And I'll ask you guys about this later. But y'all know next weekend we have Night of Champions, NXT Battleground, and Double or Nothing.
We talked about that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
The riches that we have. But
Yeah.
they got 4 weeks to present on TV about the rosters. So I wonder what they're going to do. Like, is there going to be some type of thing on television where these rosters are split, or are they just going to say, hey, Swerve is on Saturdays and don't give us a rhyme or reason? That's going to be kind of interesting to see. Don't know. What else? What else on Punk or Collision?
I just really feel like, and I'm going to take their approach of just being happy and knowing that we're about to get another show live. But I feel like AEW/Collision, this whole CM Punk thing, you take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And that's just what it feels like. You know, oh, we got this deal. We got a new live show, but it's on Saturday night in the Death Spot. Oh, but we got CM Punk that's about to air, but do we really? I mean, it's just like, oh, come on. It's just a lot, but I'm going to just take a deep breath and I'm just going to tune in and watch for a few weeks and see if it keeps my attention.
But it's only for us nerds, right? That keep up
I would
with
imagine
the backstage stuff.
Yeah.
If you only watch wrestling on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and you may check it on Bleacher Report, or you may follow AEW socials or WWE socials. You don't know about this stuff that's happening, so it's not bleeding into the TV. We just know about it because we follow everything. Anything that happens backstage wise, we kind of know what's going on. So,
but isn't that their audience though? That's part of the problem. I think they kind of cater to that audience
Smarter
too often,
fan,
especially like a lot of the work shoot stuff they try to do, which I think it never historically works. They try to cater too much to that Twitter crowd. I think ultimately what AEW needs, and I don't know about his situation, they need John Laurinaitis guy. They need like a bad guy that can keep these chaps in line.
Like, well, they had Regal. Like, look, they had Regal.
Regal's not that guy. They didn't have in that capacity. But they need a bad guy. They need somebody who can keep those guys in line, because too many things go off kilt in that company, and too many things bleed off into the media that shouldn't. Like we don't hear about this stuff as much on the WWE product. Not like we hear about it on this. So they might need that bad guy, somebody who can lay the law down for Tony Khan, right? If he can't do that for himself, and that's what it is. We all have strengths or things that we don't like to do. Hey, push that responsibility off to somebody else. Like, hey, Tony, hire me. I'll be the bad guy. I'll let all them dudes know what's popping, what's going on.
What you gonna say? Hey, all right, Eshaun, first Saturday, you're in Chicago. It's Collision. We have brought you in to keep these jokers in line. What you saying to the locker room?
Hey, look, with Punk. First of all, I'm gonna have some affiliates behind me, right? I'm gonna have a couple of them, right? Because I'm gonna talk crazy.
Affiliates, huh? We calling them.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a couple of affiliates. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have Swerve up in there. We're gonna get some mogul affiliates up in there. We're gonna bring back my BFD2, because I'm number 1. BFD2. We're gonna bring him up in there, and we gonna make sure we're gonna handle these guys. We're gonna know, like, look, no more junk talking in public. If you don't, we smacking fools up. We're gonna back it.
We look up. And we see Swerve with the new Collision title in the first 15 seconds of the show. We're like, we know what his fingerprints are all over his damn show.
We smacking fools up talking junk.
Oh man. Let's head over to WWE. We can of course get back to AEW later on. Did you guys hear about Randy Orton may be forced to retire here soon?
I saw that a few days ago. That supposedly doctors is telling him that he needs to retire.
Yeah, according to his dad anyway. Now, granted, his dad was the same one before Mania saying like, hey, he's coming back. But now he's saying that doctors are saying that, hey, he may need to hang it up. Now, I know when he went out, I remember hearing that this is pretty serious. Mm-hmm. And it kind of they didn't lean into it at all. I guess they wouldn't on TV, but it was made to be much more serious than people thought. And as we can see, we're going on, I think the year has now passed since last time he's been on WWE TV. And now the word is that, hey, his back may be at a point where he can't bump around anymore. What's your guys' thoughts on if we've seen the last of Randy Orton?
Well, it sounds like we definitely seen the last of him in the capacity of what we're used to seeing him in. So now maybe in the future he could come back as a legend. I guess, is he too young to be called a legend? But he can come back in another role, maybe like how Edge is still going in too. But as for what we know as Randy, that's probably done at this point.
You know what? I heard the news, and I guess I'm optimistic about it because we've seen so many success stories. We've seen Edge come back from a career-ending injury. We've seen Christian come back, and they're doing awesome work right now. We've seen my girl Saraya come back. I hope we can get some great work out of her with some better creative. But we've seen some awesome stories of these guys coming back. So, he might have to take a couple more years off. And I think he's definitely in his early 40s. Maybe a couple years off, give his back a break, and maybe he comes back in a couple years from now better than ever. Because the great thing is that, he's a smart worker, very smart worker, and arguably.
And he prided himself in that.
World. Yeah, one of the best workers in the world. So maybe he needs a couple years off, and to take a look at his back another year from now. Or, look, his dad also was he's a carny too, man. He might be working us all.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Randy might come out of nowhere and he might RKO Roman Reigns tomorrow. We don't know.
Yeah.
I still think he's the only one that makes sense. I said on Twitter watching Raw Monday, Rhea steps in front of all these guys and like nobody touches her. And I'm like, okay, what's the payoff for this? There's got to be a payoff somewhere. Orton's the one that would make sense. Right, mm-hmm. Coming back and just RKOing her. I hope we haven't seen the last of him. He was talking before he went out. Hey, I got another 6-7 years.
Yeah,
in me working this style and taking care of my body and being selective on what I do. I'm just a big proponent. Typically, it doesn't happen in wrestling because wrestling is such a physical sport that your next match could be your last match, and a lot of times it is. And it's just, hey, you got to retire. But damn, it would suck if someone like Orton, we saw his last match and we didn't know it was his last match. And like, there was no pomp and circumstance behind it. He didn't go out, on his terms kind of a thing. So I am really hoping that that's not the case and whatever's going on, they can fix it. Once again, even he doesn't work, but 3 or 4 times a year, hell, twice a year. Give me that, right? Mm-hmm. For us to be able to see him and still get what we need out of him. Cause think about the younger generation and talent that he could really help.
For sure.
There's a lot right now in WWE. There's a lot in NXT. So granted, we've had a long time with him, but it would feel like, damn, we got cheated a little bit if he has to retire and he went out on a random, I think it was SmackDown was his last match in a tag match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, with E's favorite, Matt Riddle. That makes me think about, and I didn't get to watch the whole thing, so I probably shouldn't even be speaking on it, but about the John Cena interview he had, talking about that he can't, his body can't take the bumps anymore. And you look at John Cena, you look at Randy Orton, they kind of always had like that parallel career with each other. And it's just like, damn, it's something you want to do something so bad, but you can't do it. Your body can't do it. You still have it in your brain. You still have it mentally, but your body just can't do it anymore.
Especially when you've done it at such a high level, though. Like, we're talking the Cenas, the Ortons. These guys have main evented WrestleManias. They know exactly what works. They know exactly what doesn't work. It's a different situation if you've been just a mid-carder your entire life. Right. Okay, yeah, you can go out there and go in the ring and bump around and okay, but when you do it at the highest level and you kind of get that feeling like, man, this is all I got. He even said in that interview, hey, what you saw at 39, that's the most I can do right now. Like that is the highest. And not to say it was horrible, but we know what he means when he says that.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, that's the ceiling. Got it. Not to say that he's going to retire and we're never going to see him again, but cool. We know what type of run that is. That is not maybe he can come back and win that final world championship and then go on a few month reign. That's not, I think we know that's not happening.
I wonder about the physicality, because Edge said in an interview like a while ago, and he said that working infrequently. I think even Bryan Danielson said it as well.
Triple H did too.
Like, since they work infrequently now, like it's harder on their bodies to wrestle infrequently because like they don't have like the callus, I guess, on their bodies and backs, and their body just isn't used to falling down as much, right? And I wonder, is that what John Cena is? Because he's only getting in the ring every 4, 5, 6 months or something like that. Like,
no, not even that, man.
Yeah,
not even
this
that.
Last year has been a year, almost a full year.
Remember, he went to December where he had that tag match on the New Year's Eve SmackDown, and he didn't take any bumps. And now he definitely played the greatest hits. So then for him to come back and then do Theory at Mania, but it had been a year before that. And it's funny. It's funny you bring that up. You can even tell next time somebody's been gone for a while, watch their first match back, and they all have the red line on their back just from running the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
That just shows, and those ropes are not, they don't feel good. Those ropes hurt too. That just shows the level of just what your body is used to, and that callus that they talk about. I'll never forget that first time I was in a real ring and I took a bump and I just fell, boom. And I remember the jolt that goes from your toes all the way up to your head is indescribable. If you have never taken a bump in a wrestling ring, you can't imagine when you take that bump, you say to yourself, how the hell do they do this 4, 5, 6 times a night? It is unreal. So I couldn't imagine being gone for a year and then, all right, hey, you got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Go bump around. It's like, man, that's rough.
Hey, it's funny, Matt. You talk about taking that first bump. I remember I got in the ring, and I got in the ring. It was with a guy, indie talent, AC Mac. And I said, hey, I've never been in the ring before. He's like, really? It's like, you want to take a bump? So I fell down a little bit, and I was like, hey, not right now. I'll wait till I get to training. Because that mat is hard, bro. It's not really people. I always imagine they have like a little bit of a cushion or some type of mat that kind of soften that blow. But no, that thing is hard, right? And these guys are doing it, 100 times in a match, and then they're falling on the hardest part of the apron, and then they're falling on the concrete. Man, it has to be a strain. That's why for me, a lot of times I have a hard time watching some of these, not garbage matches, but these hardcore matches when these guys are legit hurting themselves for my entertainment. It makes it hard for me to watch.
Well, that, and then you also think too, you talk about like hardcore matches, or you even talk about hard hitting matches. Those blows are stiff. We're not even talking about falling now. Now we're not even talking about taking bumps on the ring. We're talking about forearms, right? Clotheslines, chops. You're talking about those kind of moves where if you were fighting on a pillow, it would still hurt. And then you incorporate top rope, superplexes, and things of that nature. It's a whole different animal. That's why we just appreciate it, of course. And anybody who's listening to this podcast absolutely appreciates the art of professional wrestling for what we get week in and week out. Let's move over to AJ and Seth Rollins. We have the finals of the new World Heavyweight Championship that is going to be determined next Saturday in Saudi. AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. Thoughts?
Yes, I have thoughts. I feel like either they really setting AJ up for a true comeback, or he's about to just be ran over the bus, the bus in reverse, run him back over, because I don't see a ending. However, did Dr. Strange say, I don't even see an ending where Seth doesn't win. So maybe that's probably where I'm coming from too. So I don't see a point where, or any option out of 1,000,001 options, that Seth is not going to win. So how is that going to look for AJ Styles? Because he already left ice cold. He's going to come back and lose again on this grand stage. I don't know. But then they were talking about this week, this Friday, he's going to be on the Waller Effect. I think that's what it's called. That maybe there might be some, what does Eshaun say? Scuttle booty in the game where maybe Waller takes his spot in the match. I think that's far-fetched, but I mean, that was out there on it. I think Sportskeeda.
Jesus Christ. Guys,
yeah.
See, and that's a problem with social media. Somebody says something and then they run with it. Just like I saw a report that, we may not put the belt on Seth because he's doing movies now.
But, okay, so what is up with that? Because I heard that he has ties with Marvel now.
Great. How long does it? That's why he wasn't on Raw Monday, because he was shooting for the Marvel movie. He's not Captain America. He's an extra in the movie.
Oh.
You know, like, what are we talking about? And I get that, hey, we want to throw that out there to try to get the smarts to think that maybe there's a chance that AJ wins the title. Put me down, book it, stamp it. 100% chance AJ does not win the title. I'm excited because I do think this is going to be a match of the year candidate.
For sure.
Because I didn't think he was coming out of that match. After Edge cut that promo that he put on his Twitter last week and his Instagram, I was like, oh, man, maybe we get Edge and Seth. That'd be kind of cool. So I'm excited just from a match quality. This is Seth's belt to lose. There is no way you put that belt on AJ. I don't even know where and why that would make sense.
Me neither.
Man, when I saw that final bracket, AJ Styles, Seth freaking Rollins.
Damn.
Woo! I think I was trying to watch a game or something like that, and just thought of it, man. I just fell asleep, man. I just fell asleep, and I had the best night's rest, man. I slept for hours.
So you don't think the match gonna be good?
The work rate gonna be really good, though. The work rate is gonna be very high.
Let me drink some more of this tea right now. I'm getting sleepy thinking about it. Oh,
what? There is no. You just got on this podcast 2 weeks ago and talked about Seth Rollins was one of the best workers in the world, and now you're shitting on him being in the championship match with AJ. Who else would you have rather had him be in the finals with?
I also said that Chris Jericho is doing some of the best work of his career. He rejuvenated his body. I like the JAS. And I don't watch anything Chris Jericho like. Hey, look, I recognize talent. He just ain't for me, right? I'm not personally invested in Seth Rollins. Like, outside of his song, which I'm actually getting sick of. I'm getting sick of people singing it, to be honest with you. And AJ Styles, I think actually he's a little bit fresher. I think the time away kind of did him some good, you know. But I mean, I know, like you said, I fully expect Seth to win the title. Fully expect it, right? So I've seen him wrestle before. I pretty much know that he's going to win. I just don't like matches to where I know if I've seen it multiple times and I know who's going to win, I'm just not that interested in it. So yeah, it's going to be a great work rate match and all those things, sure. But I'm just not interested in it. I'm not interested in a rematch for a guy who I know is going to win. And to be 100% honest with you, I'm not that excited to see his title reign, to be honest with you.
Ooh, sheesh.
So if you had to rebook it, who would you rather it had? Seth's going to be in it. So who would you rather have besides AJ?
I would like somehow for them to get Finn Balor on the other side and for him to win. The Judgment Day is pretty hot.
I wanted Finn to win. I wanted Finn to win.
Judgment Day is hot, and they'll get them more TV time. Yeah, he's to give him more TV time. And then if Seth wants to feud with him and eventually take the title from him, have them kind of do like a 90-day kind of feud type thing. Sure, but I'm just not interested in seeing Seth, win the title and then spend 10 minutes listen to people sing a song. I'm not interested.
I'm just so concerned with AJ Styles, just because I really feel like either one. That's what they say, AJ Styles, because I just really feel like if they work the way that they can wrestle, then it's going to be a great showing for both of them. But I just really feel like they're positioning AJ to bury him. And again, you come back. I just feel
here
sorry
we go.
for AJ.
Here we go with the word bury. Oh my goodness. So are you saying if AJ Styles, who's been gone for months, comes back, wins 2 matches in one night, and he just so happens to lose in the finals to Seth Rollins, he was buried?
You dirting him?
I said if they don't show what they can show work rate wise, I think he's going to get buried.
Well, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean that's what I feel.
You don't have to worry about that. Yeah. I'll tell you who was going to be buried though.
Who?
The Usos. Roman comes back on SmackDown. Boy, oh boy, they announced it is Roman and Solo versus KO and Sammy at Night of Champions for the tag team titles. Are y'all giving Roman and Solo any chance of winning the tag titles that night?
Hell yeah. There's not a universe in my mind that they don't win. No, I'm joking. There's a couple universes. But yeah, absolutely. It depends on how much more we have of this story.
Mm-hmm.
I can so see that. And Roman just like throwing the belts back at them, like, listen, this is how you go and get them. Like, I can see all of that right now.
Oh, absolutely see that.
Man, when he punked Jimmy,
I think that I think the way out of it is probably for KO and Sammy to retain, but have the Usos, quote unquote, by mistake, cost Roman.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yep.
I can see that.
I
think he's going to be even nuclear mad at him.
Exactly.
God.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think the only way they out of that match is Usos inadvertently, and probably not Roman, right? Maybe Jay super kicking
Solo,
right?
Solo.
Yeah. Because Solo already kind of side-eyeing Jay already, right? That could put some more fuel to the
No.
yeah.
He's waiting.
Hey, you know what though? That's why the Bloodline story is a very interesting story, especially for the family dynamic, because they kind of planted some seeds, and I'm not sure if it's real or not, right? But they planted seeds some time ago. Solo said in their interview that he didn't really grow up around his brothers and his cousins, like, cause they have such an age difference. And he said that he would see Roman around the house, but he was hanging with his brothers. I think there's like a 7-year age gap between them. So you can say that, Solo could say that, hey, the only person that treat me like a brother or like family was Roman, right? So there's definitely like layers of a story of a family feud there. So there's a lot of legs. Which goes back to why I said Roman didn't need that damn title or titles to tell these stories. He ain't doing Nathan with the belts right now. This story that he's telling right now ain't got nothing to do. The dude's challenging for tag titles right now. Right? Like this. And now I'm going on a tangent for a second.
Go ahead. Go.
So Cody didn't finish the story. He might not finish the story for a whole nother year. And Roman took a month off, comes back, fused with tag team titles, and guess what? The Undisputed Championship, it's not undisputed anymore. It's disputed as hell. We got another whole ass championship on Raw, right? So if Cody finishes the story at some point in time, if he finishes it all, it's not going to be as impactful because he's just a champion.
He's a disputed champion.
Yeah, he's a disputed champion now. He ain't win the big one for Dusty and Sonny. He won a half of one.
I loved your tangent, and I will agree that the story they are in right now doesn't need the Universal Championship belt. We get that, but let me ask you a question, honest question. I know you watched Raw Monday, Rhodesia. You definitely watched Raw Monday. Did you guys hear Cody's reaction on Raw?
Yes.
Best reaction in the entire show, right? Would you both agree?
And I would say, well, not in our house, but yeah.
No, there in the arena.
Yeah, there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You guys both watched SmackDown Friday. Roman's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You guys heard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Best reaction on the show, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
WrestleMania worked. That's all you need to see. Cody is still elevating in popularity. Take the belt away. Nobody cares about the belt. The point of the belt is to get people over, have a chase, things of that nature. He's accelerating still in popularity. Roman is still as big as he is. That means the WrestleMania finish worked because he's not. Now, if he was not getting those reactions, yes, we could come out here and have a whole 15-minute conversation about, damn, they did screw the pooch on night 2 of Mania. They should have put the belt on Cody. No, Cody's doing the damn thing right now as that face. And having that belt would not equate to one more ticket sold. It would not equate to one more t-shirt sold because he's doing the damn thing right now as a face. So I think looking at this, you have to say, you know what? Maybe I don't agree with it. I agree with it. Absolutely. You guys know my stance. But you can say, you know what? I don't agree that Cody, hey, that was the perfect opportunity, but nothing's been squandered yet. It's still working. Now we'll see what's next for Cody after Brock. Do you go Gunther, because it looks like we're not going Roman unless he wins Money in the Bank and then he challenges Roman at SummerSlam. I just think that doesn't make sense at all in where the story's at. So I guess we are going to wait until WrestleMania 40.
Him winning Money in the Bank?
Yeah, because typically Money in the Bank they're made for heels. Now, if Cody wants to win it and say, "Hey, I challenge you to SummerSlam,"
like what John
to finish
did,
the story, cool. But then you still run into the same thing where you have Cody and Roman both on the same show, and we know that's not happening. Monday is Cody's show, Friday is Roman's show. But I just say all that to say I get what you're saying, but I think they're showing that, you know what, take the belt out of it. Damn, that loss did pretty good for Cody right now because that crowd is behind him like something terrible.
No, that's making this. Everyone feels like if he would have won, it would have been over for Cody's popularity. I disagree. My thing is that was the most unsatisfying finish in WrestleMania history. It was a horrible finish.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was one of the best ones, and I swear to you, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I think that was one of the best finishes in WrestleMania history.
But you're also not a Cody fan. And you're also one of the very few. You're one of the very few people in that arena. So that's cool that the two of you liked it, but it's not about what the minority feel. It's about the majority, and the majority of the people didn't like the finish. And it's WrestleMania. We should be in on a good note, right? Fair. So it's super fair, right? And then.
Rating's still up. Attendance is still up. So it worked.
Mm-hmm. Well, rating's still up, but we still had a fart to win WrestleMania. That's my thing is I didn't want to have to sit through that fart for 8 whole hours. If you would tell me at the end of the night that you was going to fart in my face, guess what? I wouldn't stand in your way. I'd move. I wouldn't show up.
We told you that what was going to happen. We told you Roman was walking out.
Told you for weeks.
But that's your fault.
But y'all some haters. And I don't listen to haters. No. I don't listen to haters.
Hey, I'm not a Cody hater. I love Cody.
No, you don't. Don't stop lying to me and our fans and our friends on this podcast.
Hey, speaking of farting church and farting to win, so y'all came out here and trashed Jacksonville last week and talked about how horrible that crowd was on Raw.
We did, right? We did. Okay,
so WWE,
you had nothing to do with it, huh?
I had no idea where they were even at last week until you guys brought it up on the podcast.
Got it.
So WWE releases their entire summer schedule. Son of a bitch.
They're going back
June
to Jacksonville?
23rd. No. Lafayette, Louisiana. Oh my God. For a SmackDown taping. Lafayette.
They can come through.
Do something, please.
Yeah, they can come through.
Last 5 times, you guys have been easily the worst crowd that WWE hits.
Oh, were they?
Change that narrative, please. It's only a 2-hour show. It's not 3 hours. You don't have to save yourself. Come out there, cheer, holler, scream, please. June 23rd is marked in my calendar on my iPhone.
It doesn't matter, man. If it's SmackDown, the noise is gonna be piped in. They could be quiet as crickets all for all I care.
There you go.
And we gonna get piped in music or piped in.
Give it up. Turn up that music for me. I don't care. I'm good. I'm good with it.
I thought about E on Monday. I was gonna text him when I was like, no. JD McDonough and E have the same things in common. Do you have any idea, Rhodesia, what that is?
I don't want to hold up the podcast, but I think I could think of it, but I don't want to hold up. No.
They're the only 2 people in the world that still care about Dolph Ziggler. He came out here every week and would use Dolph Ziggler as the example of somebody who needs to go to AEW. JD McDonough picked Dolph Ziggler to pick on in that battle royal. JD, there are a plethora of other wrestlers you could have sunk your teeth into. You pick Dolph Ziggler.
He might admire him, but that might have been his. He could have been admire. He could admire him, and that'd be somebody he looked up to.
Disgusted.
Hey, low key. So one thing I noticed about JD, and I was like, man, that dude got a big ass head.
He does. He's got a lot of knowledge.
And I gotta be honest with you, I've been accused of having a big ass head myself, so I'm like, oh man, they're gonna put me on blast.
Is that your spirit animal?
I have a big head, so I would never make fun of that.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, but I did laugh out loud when he knocked out Dolph and then went on his promo tangent about him picking. I was like, damn it, him and E are the same right now. So we saw JD on Monday. We saw Pretty Deadly on Friday. We saw Cameron Grimes on Friday. What'd you guys think of Cameron Grimes' debut match on SmackDown against Baron Corbin?
I didn't see the match. I just saw backstage and I didn't see it.
Well, a match? What do you mean? Was it a match?
Yeah.
It was like 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
He beat
right.
Baron. He beat Baron.
Hey, but you know what? When I thought about his interactions, backstage, I think they need to showcase the NXT superstars and the best versions of themselves. And I think the best version of Cameron Grimes when he was an obnoxious heel. I think they need to reset that character because I don't think the WWE audience is familiar with him. Right? I think that the NXT audience built a respect for his match work and how entertaining he was, but he's not there yet. So I think he needs to kind of reset that character for a new audience. Turn him back heel. I want the obnoxious Cameron Grimes back.
So there was a rumor last week that Vince McMahon is basically kind of booking the faces. Triple H is really intent on booking the heels.
Oh my God.
Okay. And when I saw Cameron Grimes after the match and how overly enthused he was saying "To the Moon" to his theme song, I was like, ugh. It's a little much. And I get you got to be over the top in WWE. I
didn't think it was that bad. But I see your point.
If you go back and watch it compared to what worked in NXT, his second one, I was like, uh-oh. And then he did like 2 more times and he's just doing it to the song. But it was like how he was just so boisterous with it. I was like, oh. And I agree. Like the "To the Moon" worked because you hit on Dogecoin, right? So you got all this money, you're running through it, you were heel, you're obnoxious. You had an awesome feud with $1 Million Man. That thing happened. And then we became to enjoy you because of that. If I don't know your NXT work, and yeah, they did some really nice video packages for everybody who they brought up. But so I thought that was fantastic. But you take that in the capsule. I love that it was shock and awe that he beat Corbin. That adds more to Corbin's story of, dude, you are getting screwed left and right.
Yep.
But I'm supposed to cheer it? I'm going to cheer because I like Cameron Grimes. But
yeah,
absolutely. I was like, I don't know if white meat babyface Cameron Grimes is the way to get him over right now.
I also thought that I was like, you know what? Because I don't know where to go with Corbin, but I'm not that interested either, to be honest with you. And he's too entertaining of a character to kind of be doing what he's doing. I don't like what they're doing with him. I would love if the two of them were paired together as obnoxious heels. I think they can play off each other really well.
Their gimmicks was kind of the same. Think about it. They both hit on something. Corbin hit in Vegas. Grimes hit with Dogecoin. Mm-hmm. So they both blew up, overnight millionaires. Their gimmicks is very similar. And I like both of them equally, when they were in that character. So I see that for sure.
Justice for Corbin, for sure.
For sure.
That's my guy. That is my guy. I went on a mini tangent on Monday. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. Any thoughts either way, pro or con, on having Paul Heyman, who is a SmackDown talent that was drafted with the Bloodline, who was Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman, according to WWE, on Raw 2 weeks after the draft?
I would not have thought of that until you made a point of it. I'm still looking at Paulie as this manager who's the advocate who's trying to make deals for the best for the tribal chief. But you're right. You were drafted to SmackDown. We just had a draft. Stay on SmackDown. I like what he did. So you have that with me in my mind, always looking at Paulie as a manager. Mm-hmm. I didn't notice it until, you mentioned that.
Oh man, yeah, I saw it. I'm like, Matt, you old smart fan. This is ridiculous.
So you have a problem with that?
Hell no, I have no problem with it.
Really?
Yeah, because he's a super agent, right? These agents, they're like it. The agent for the Pistons goes to the Lakers and goes to all places. They're scouting talent all the time. He's not a wrestler. Right?
He
like,
was,
but he's a
a
talent.
And he was in the bloodline. So if that's the case, then
he's not an active member of the roster. He's a talent. He's a talent. He's scouting. That makes all the world. It's not like he's there wrestling. All right, it'd be different if Roman Reigns popped up on the show. Right, we talking about his advocate.
Next week. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, no.
After they win those tag team championships.
Paul Heyman, I'm
completely
fine with.
And I even said I get it, because I do get it. I completely understand. But damn, man, it's been 2 weeks. Yeah. Like, so then I should expect to see MVP on both shows.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Right? But that's not
I guess I get your point. Like, if you were going to do this, you didn't have to put him in the bloodline.
Correct.
You didn't have to put him in the draft. So why
I just look at little small things. If it was 2 months down the line, all right, no harm, no foul. I love that he had the visitor sticker on the back of his phone to show he was a visitor. I get all that. My thing was just, damn, it's only been 2 weeks and we are already crossing those lines. Like, if you're going to do the draft, do the draft. If you're not. Like, but can we have some type of integrity when he is a part of the first draft pick, which was the bloodline? He was in it. And then 2 weeks later, he's on Raw. I just thought that, come on, man, I don't like that. But I guess I'm being anal.
It's just wrestling, man.
A little bit.
All right, then. All right. What y'all got? WWE Rise.
The winner of that battle royal to face Gunther at Night of Champions. That popped me.
Okay.
What? And then
what if Ali?
And then he pays homage, and I don't know if it was your tweet, whatever it's called.
He definitely
that saw, but I'm gonna recognize it as it was your tweet that he saw. Seriously, what is it? He got that Cody Rhodes pyro package. Like, come on.
He had that pyro package, that Cody pyro package for sure on Monday.
I was like, there's no way in hell he could win. But then as I was seeing like Ricochet and Bronson Reed kind of on the outside, I'm like, oh my God, is Ali really about to win this? And sure enough, he did. I was like, oh my gosh, that was a surprise that I actually welcomed. And Ali has always been like that irritating, like probably person in high school that had a crush on you that you couldn't stand, but it was so irritating. So you like, get away from me. I actually popped for that. That was the loudest pop for me in the house on Monday.
On Monday?
Mm-hmm.
You giving him any shot to beat Gunther next weekend?
I think he won just by winning the Battle Royal.
Any shot.
Any shot. Sure. Yeah. Any shot. Yes. For any shot. Yes. I think Gunther has solidified his career as champion there. I don't know what's next for him. Again, actually, let me say this again. I don't think Ali's going to win, no, because I can't really see a campaign run, a title run with Ali. So let me take that back. Sorry, Gunther, for disrespecting you. But it probably needs to end soon, because I don't know what else is there for Gunther. He needs to now drop that title, and he needs to go for a World Heavyweight Championship.
Maybe
one of the disputed ones. One of the disputed ones.
Maybe he's Seth's first feud.
Could be.
My eyes glazed over a little bit when he won that championship match. I feel like it's one of those things, kind of, look, they're going to Saudi, right? And it's a nice showcase for Ali going on that show. But one thing I did enjoy WWE related was when Roman Reigns dedicated his tag team match to the greatest tag team in the history. Looked at the Usos and said the Wild Samoans.
Alpha and Sika.
That was amazing. And so, guys, this leads me to a brand new random segment from yours truly.
I like it.
It's Easy's extraordinary random topics and stuff, right? That I'm going to bring up on random shows at random times, never consistent, right? So
never consistent.
Never consistent. Right? And so, speaking of tag teams, there's a question I have for Matt. And Rhodesia, if you can chime in, I'd love to hear it, because this might be a little bit before your time, before you start watching the actual shows. But tag team wrestling. Who's better? Road Warriors or Demolition?
Ooh. By far is Road Warriors. By far.
Why you say that?
Because they were the first team that I watched that I was like, is wrestling real? So to me, that is the answer. We hear about the Road Warrior pop. We know what that is. That is that pop that is consistent from the time they come out to the time they get in the ring, and it keeps building. But for me as a kid, it was Demolition. Solely because I was a bigger WWF kid than I was WCW and NWA. Like, I loved Demolition. But when I got older, started going back and watching their old stuff, oh, man. Now, probably, you know what could be a good question is, what's better, Legion of Doom or Demolition? Because they definitely got watered down when they went to WWF, for sure. But no, I mean, I would go Road Warriors without a doubt. What do you say?
So that's why I thought it was an interesting question, because we talk about historically, we might say the Road Warriors, right? But as you said, me as a fan, now I did see the Road Warriors, I would say towards the late end of their NWA run. I started watching NWA maybe a year or so after I started watching WWE.
Okay.
I saw them take the spike off their shoulder pads and stab Dusty Rhodes in it. This is on Saturday too, so it goes back to Collision, right, on Saturday Wrestling. I remember seeing that. But for me as a fan, as a young kid, Demolition was it. Demolition was it. When that music came on, I thought that music was hot. Here comes the Smasher. Man, that music hit. And for me as a fan, like that was kind of what I kind of grew up on. Even though I saw the Road Warriors, it just seems to me that was it. Now, when LOD or the Road Warriors got to the WWE, I was a little disappointed because that wasn't the team I remember seeing on tapes on NWA and the spike. You know, as we got older, we heard about the stories of the drug use, etc., especially on Hawks, and we kind of understand why, right? But for me, it's Demolition.
And you know what's
funny? They had really good matches.
And if you didn't know any better, you would think the Legion of Doom was a ripoff of Demolition.
Right. I didn't think of it.
Did you not the other way around?
Did you think of them as ripoffs?
No, because I saw them in WCW, in NWA. Now, say if I didn't, say if I was solely a WWF guy, I'd be like, what the hell is this fake Demolition thing? I would have thought that.
But you never thought that Demolition were ripping off LOD, right?
I did. I thought they were WWE's version of Road Warriors.
As a kid?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, I did. I think it could have been strictly just the face paint. Well, hell, the face paint, they had the black leather, they had spikes. They were much smaller spikes though. So it was a lot of the same type of feel that the Road Warriors had. That was a great question. Anybody listening, of course, leave that in the comments on YouTube at That's Freaking Wrestling. Hit us up on Twitter at That's FNW. Let us know if you guys watched kind of 50-50. Because, of course, if you watched the majority of WCW, you would absolutely say Road Warriors. But if you watched 50-50, let us know who you guys thought was better between Road Warriors and Demolition.
For sure.
Hey, so now you got to finish the segment. You got to say, and that was, I forgot the name of it. I just know you had like a lot of E's. It was like the
Easy,
exquisite,
extraordinary,
what was it?
Something.
Easy's extraordinary random topic.
I like it. Nice,
that is not consistent.
That's
not consistent. That's never consistent. That's never consistent.
Come on, nowhere.
Never consistent.
I like that. It's like random, like the hardcore title. You never know when you may get it. 24/7 title. What else y'all got for WWE? Anything that you have to talk about?
Just looking at my notes here. Nah, I was just happy about Ali winning. I guess there's one last thing on. Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say. I was gonna ask you guys, what are you looking forward to most next weekend? But you can give what you got first.
We just can't just overlook really quickly how Roman punked Jimmy. Like that, I mean, we just can't gloss over that. Like, I'm telling you, he did that to me. I would have socked the shit out of him, to be honest with you. But Jay came in and was like, hold on. No, I'm sorry. We sorry. Like,
he's going to continue to do that. That's what he's done. And that's, I mean, like.
But that was the hardest, like the most. Like, he did it to Sammy, right? You know, at the end of when Sammy, right before he left the bloodline. But man, like, you don't do that to your Uso, your brother, your cousin. I was like, nope, he crossed the line.
Hey, Jimmy was asking for it, though. He told him to apologize multiple times, and Jimmy kept laughing it off. What do you think was going to happen?
And I tell you what I really enjoyed from a shoot perspective. He caught him off guard when he did it. I'm sure he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But he did it mid-sentence. And if you watch Jimmy's reaction, he caught him off guard. He got him pretty good on that one. I like
that's all. That's all I got on WWE. Like I said, Roman, I love you, and you got some extra heat on that, but you ain't gonna hit me. We're gonna be straight up duking it out right there in the ring.
What is up with y'all like going at wrestlers on this show? E went at MJF and said, "Hey, I'm gonna come get me some." You telling Roman you ain't gonna do that to me? Because
I socked the shit out of him. Well, y'all was talking about the first time y'all took a wrestling move, so I want to just add this real quick. The one and only time I took a wrestling move, I took a clothesline, and so I don't even know how.
Go ahead and move on. So, question for next weekend.
No, listen.
We have Night of Champions. We have NXT Battleground, and we have AEW Double or Nothing.
No.
So for Night of Champions, so far we have Seth versus AJ that E just cannot wait to sleep through. Cody versus Brock, Ali versus Gunther, Sammy and KO versus Roman and Solo. That's what we have right now. Maybe they add Trish and Becky. There's a couple matches they could add, but we'll leave that at that right now. NXT Battleground. We got Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker. We have the NXT Heritage Cup Championship match. Noam Dar versus Dragon Lee. We have NXT Women's Championship Finals. Valkyrie or Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez or Tiffany Stratton. That match is going to be really good. Then we have the NXT North American Championship match. Wesley versus Joe Gacy versus Tyler Bate. And then AEW went hard on their announcements last night. I just had to pull it up. Now, we get the Four Pillars match. Darby, Sammy, Jungle Boy, and MJF. We have Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter for the women's title. We have the Blackjack Battle Royal for the AEW International Championship. Orange Cassidy versus 20 other competitors. Should be fun to see some people probably come back that we haven't seen in a while. We got a ladder match for the AEW TNT Championship. Christian Cage versus Wardlow. We have Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus FTR for the AEW Tag Team Championship match. And we have Anarchy in the Arena, which is Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite. Newly formed back Elite. That is all they have right now. Of course, there's some spoilers that I'm not going to give away that happened on Rampage that I think is 2 new matches that they finalized for the show. So right now, as constructed, what are you guys most excited to see in the order? So what would you go first? Would you go second? Would you go third?
First would be seeing that Rhodesia clothesline. Second would be...
You got to move on, man.
That's me trying to buy time. That's all it was. Hold on. Because we have to look at what's constructed as is right now as what we consider fact.
Yep, as is. But nothing else announced officially. E, you got yours yet? While she thinks?
To be honest with you, I'm kind of more interested in the AEW show.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the least will be NXT.
Same.
But that's only because I think the bigger stars on other brands, right? But we know that NXT is going to deliver.
Hell, they pulled everybody.
Right.
For the draft. They pulled 17 people.
They did, but there's still some talent on that show, and we're going to see it shine through. It's just hard to do so when you have all these other big matches and all these other big shows, right? Mm-hmm. I would probably say the Night of Champions is probably my least. I'm just not Brock and Cody. I think we've already seen it.
It's a fight.
It's going to be a fight.
You know that it's not a wrestling match; it's a fight.
Yeah, we'll see. And then so I guess AEW because I'm not super interested in the Night of Champions, and NXT, I'm not super invested in just yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rhodesia, you saying the same, or are you flipping something?
I think I wanted to just get off my clothesline story so hard that this was a no-brainer. It's definitely Double or Nothing, Night of Champions, and then NXT.
Same. And it was only because of the closing angle on Dynamite. I had Night of Champions first, then Double or Nothing, and then NXT. I'm not really excited for anything on NXT except for, I say except for, hell, it was only 4 matches. I'm excited for 2 of them. Excited for Carmelo and Braun. Braun's making me a believer. Y'all know I was out here shitting on him and saying, like, dude, figure it out. You got to give more as a face. That boy's good as a heel.
You was Eric Bischoff hands
man.
down. Yeah,
a little bit. So my apologies, Brian. I knew you had it. And you just had to turn heel. But I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the women's match. But Double or Nothing got me after, and I don't know how we didn't think, any of us didn't mention the past podcast. I was like, damn, they don't have enough for Blood and Guts. It's only 4 and 4. We forgot about Anarchy in the Arena. So it makes perfect sense. But yeah, so give me Double or Nothing. Give me, of course, Night of Champions, and then NXT. But man, what a hell of a weekend. Once again, Jesus. So AEW, super strong finish to the show last night. I loved everything about it. I thought it was done. It couldn't have been done any better. From Don coming out, giving his promo of why he did it, and it was super quick because that's all it needed to be. And then everything about it was great. And then to get the formation back of the Elite. Damn. When they do it right, they do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And
they killed it last week.
The Elite, I think, when it's all said and done, they are going to go down as some of the best storytellers in U.S. wrestling history. If you look at the layers that they tell and they do down to placement, I put a picture up on Twitter yesterday of the Elite, Kenny, and the Hangman in the ring 3 different times. They're in the same spot. And it was just like, man, that's long-term storytelling, man. Shout out to them for that. But I am super excited now for Anarchy in the Arena. I don't know if you main event that. You probably still got to put the title match on last, but
they can start it.
And the Elite have way more heat on their match besides the 4-way. They tried something yesterday. So is Sammy a face now?
He apologized.
Oh man!
And he said he's gonna win. He ended it with, "I'm winning. I'm winning the world championship. I'm sorry for everything I did."
He was only a face because they were in his hometown, or is this the trajectory that we're just on now?
Let's just say that he was in his hometown. I didn't know that. Shame on me.
Yeah.
He's still a heel.
You need to Google stuff more often, Rhodesia.
I would rather watch it than Google it. If I have time to Google, I would have time to watch it.
It seems like that's like the 5th time today. He's like, I'm sorry, but
yeah, right.
But you want to tell this damn clothesline story so bad? That
I do,
because like 20 years ago.
Because it happened to me.
How about you watch the clotheslines on TV? How about you do that?
We'll talk about that in a second.
But real quick about this Pillars match, I've actually been kind of frustrated with their booking of this entire thing. Just from the very start of when he got your baby faces and Jack Perry and Darby Allin sound like little whiny schoolgirls like crapping on each other. Like, man, you guys are baby faces. Take the high road, right? And now we got Sammy Guevara, who is a hated heel. I don't care if he's in his hometown or not, but he comes out there kissing babies and Google. I'm not talking to you.
Right? Like,
I'm like,
trying to be part of the podcast.
Yeah, like Google, no, you're not part of the pod today. But now he's kissing babies, he's handshaking out there, and for what? Right? I just want them to get this characterization of their wrestlers down so we can fully invest and want to root for or against somebody soundly, right? And now we're going into the match. All right, so I guess you're rooting against MJF, depending on where he's at, right? So I hope he's not at Long Island. And are we rooting for Darby? Are we rooting for Sammy now? Are we rooting for Jack? Who are we rooting for in this match, right? Because to me, it feels like we're gonna go into this match being different as hell, right? We're just gonna be happy to see some moves, and that's what we're gonna get: spot fights, and we're just happy to see a winner.
So let me play devil's advocate. I think this actually helps your case more than it hurts it with turning him face. Now you got 3 faces against 1 heel. So now we know who we don't want to win. Now we know who the hated heel is, and then the other people, it's going to be preference. I like that. I like that better than having Sammy, because at least Sammy as a face is fresh. Sammy as a heel is like, dude, we know you ain't got no shot of winning this. Like, so he's taking heat from MJF for no reason because you don't have a shot. At least now you got 3 baby faces, or will we assume to be baby face? Maybe somebody else turns. And now, it still goes, 2 faces, 2 heels in that match. Regardless, we agree that belt ain't going nowhere. Yeah. So to me, this match is going to be a great in-ring match. I think there's some great stories they can tell, but at the end of the day, MJF's winning, and then of course going on to All In. I still think maybe you go Adam Cole and him in Wembley.
Yeah.
I don't think you do Punk. I mean, I guess you could, but we got All Out the week after. It's gonna be the good thing about Tony. Execution may not be the best at times, but Tony's got a plan. Yeah, I am sure that the first month of Collision is already set match wise. I am sure he has penciled the All In card. I am sure he has penciled the All Out card. So he's got a plan. I hope the plan is great. But
and I'm sorry to tell you, Eric Bischoff, Tony Khan is better than you. Sorry to tell you.
Man, Air Hornet.
Hey, and the beef. Before we leave the double nothing, the BCC, I really like them as heels.
They're fantastic, man.
It fits, right? It really fits them.
But I will say this: when Mox was talking last night or on Wednesday Dynamite, it got really Shield-like for me. I even called it out. But again, I don't want to knock it out. That sounds like shade I just threw. It probably was, but it felt really Shieldish when Mox was talking.
Just because of the takeover piece, right? And that was the same thing the Shield did.
That was a gimmick of the Shield.
Yep.
Hell, if they ripping off Nitro's logo, why not rip off something else that we know worked, which was the Shield? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say Warlow. I was thinking about how much the BCC is working, how much the Elite is working. I don't want to gloss over the Elite if you guys want to talk back about that, but man, he's so cold. He is super cold, man.
Bulo.
And it's crazy when and we know Christian is a super fan's darling, but I saw so many tweets last night of man, I hope Christian wins. I hope Christian wins. It's like, oh, it's not the intended outcome.
That was not what they were looking for.
It's not what it's supposed to be. I think it's also fair to say that Christian's had a better comeback than Edge has, in my opinion. Take out
for sure.
Take out the huge pop Edge got at Royal Rumble a few years ago. And if you just put in my opinion, what I like, side A, side B, I think Christian's run has been better than Edge's run. But man, they got to figure something out with Warlow. I don't know.
If you're going against probably the best heel right now in wrestling, and that can't save you, I don't know. I really think once he got that haircut and then the losing of the belt, getting the belt back, that whole everything that happened with that, it just seems like, man, he just disappeared. Everything, it was all deflated. It was all gone. And when I saw him last night backstage, I didn't see him last night, but on TV when I saw him backstage, when I look at him, I'm just he's a good guy, but man, I'm not buying into this character, and I should. How he's talking. He's not that angry.
Maybe the end goal and end game is to turn him heel after this.
He needs to go heel.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe he destroys Arn, because even that pairing doesn't make sense.
That irritated me.
I think Warlow can speak for himself for the most part. Mm-hmm. But maybe that's what you do. You get Hobbs on Saturday, who he's going to be that big heel on Saturday, and then maybe Warlow is the big heel on Wednesdays. In terms of when I say big, I'm talking, of course, heavyweight,
size-wise,
big muscular guy. Yeah, because this isn't working. and I don't know what else they can do to make it work.
Yep, they messed him up.
Yeah,
That sucks.
It's time to hit the reset.
Mm-hmm. I love him just because like he's a legend. Can we please, after next week, get Jeff Jarrett off my TV wrestling?
they brought his wife on. They said you're gonna go get Jeff Jarrett and his wife now. They just adding layers onto it. He's
let's
like,
go,
nope.
Karen. Yeah, I don't care about that match one bit next week with FTR. We know they're not losing the belts. I mean, great for the whole thing we usually say, right? Also, it's fantastic. He gets to do what he loves still. He's in great shape. Man, if you kind of look at where he was a few years ago, my God, he's in fantastic shape. I get all that, but dude, I don't need him in title matches on AEW TV in 2023. I don't want it.
Hey,
and I
don't know what he has on Tony Khan, but like I said, I was a big TNA supporter back in the day, and Jeff Jarrett was probably, I hated him. I hated seeing him on TV. I hated his matches. And it's 2023 and I'm still dealing with Jeff Jarrett on my TV. I'm sure he's a great man. I'm sure he's great to talk to. We went to his JR special a couple years back. And Karen was annoying then too.
Crazy Karen.
I'm sure they're great people, right? I just don't want you on my TV, man. Jay Lethal, I think you need to shred the big dude. I forget his name, man. I think he adds nothing to him. I like Jay. Yeah, I don't like him. I like his boy. What's his name? The player from the Himalaya. What's his name? The player from Himalaya. That was a TNA thing. Himalaya. His boy, the baldhead dude.
Oh, Satnam. No, not Satnam. What's his name? I forgot his name. Damn.
It sounds. You almost had it there.
I can't think of his name. It's just I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, guys, I'm getting old. But yeah, I like the two of them together. Get rid of Jeff. Damn it, I guess we're gonna get more of Jeff because we done brought Karen on TV.
Right.
I'm like, oh gosh, just get this off my TV in 2023.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't like it. I did think that Roddy and Jericho had a hell of a Falls Count Anywhere match. Mm-hmm. That was fun. That was fun. Stiff. Roddy's got to have some of the, they got to do like this. How they do like the PSI testing, like with sports where they can see like who moves the fastest and who hits the hardest. I would love to see velocity on chops between Gunther and Roddy, because anybody who Roddy's in that ring with those chops is hamburger meat with their chest by the time it's all said and done. I thought that match was way better than what I anticipated. When they announced it, I was like, I kind of don't care too much about that. But they did a fantastic job. It was fun. Super fun. And then Adam Cole, of course, coming in at the end. I'm sure, that's something else we can add to Double or Nothing. We got to get Adam Cole versus Jericho. And Jericho has to lose, right?
Hopefully.
Right? Yeah.
So Jericho loses that feud. He lost the Ricky Starks feud. And then if you let the rumors tell it, he's Punk's first feud. He's going to lose the Punk feud too?
I'm not believing Punk until I see him on the screen. So I don't know.
It's kind of interesting. What else from Dynamite?
What happened to I'm forgetting everybody's name right now, man. Who's the guy that Jericho said he's going to make? And he put him over. He beat Jericho clean. Andretti.
Yep.
What happened to that guy?
He's on
ROH teaming with one of the Martin brothers. Darius.
Action Andretti, right? Oh. Okay, so
Action. Yeah.
Which we know that was a
just put together. Yep.
Yeah, because he's hurt. Yep. But I also think he was on Rampage too. I'm not gonna lie. I probably have watched my last Rampage, unless I'm at the live show. Now that Collision's here,
it's not getting watched.
Yeah,
it's not getting watched. I'll watch it randomly when I'm modding my computer or something like that. And I want to hear some background music and something pops on. I'll check it out, see what's going on. But it's not going to be appointment TV for me. It's not worth my time, to be honest, to watch that show. Yeah.
And that's no knock. I just like there's only so much time. Only so much time. And that one, something's got to go, and that's one of them. What else from AEW? Sorry, but Switchblade is just another guy.
Was thought he on TV last night?
Yeah, him and Starks had a match, and the match was really good. But he's just another guy.
Was he on TV last night?
And that is all you need to know.
Oh,
and you have to ask that question.
Dang.
Hey, but we knew that was going to happen, though, right? That's why we didn't want him in AEW in the first place. It's like he's going to go there and just be another guy. Because they have too many. They have too many guys that are just like him. But you know, it's not. It's the man needs a job, right? And of course, I don't know if WWE has come out and admitted, but the hiring freeze that they're on, like he's supposed to go there. He thought he was going there, right? So
he's somebody that should really be able to take advantage of the brand split second show.
He should be on Collision.
No, but you know what I'm saying though? Like he should be able to really, just like Keith Lee. I see Keith Lee's on Rampage tagging with Dustin.
Poor Keith.
Oh wow.
Poor Keith.
I mean, he's another one that should really be able to get more TV time.
We thought he was going to be a serious world title challenger, right?
It's been a year or 2 years yet.
I think it's been.
I feel like it's
about 2 years. Yeah,
a year and a half at least.
Yeah, because they all got released around the same time.
Well, yeah, because he and Swerve were tag champs
and dropped it
right around this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right around this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's another one. I mean, part of that is they just have too much talent, good talent. Part of that is,
but you know, he's unique enough to where he should have been able to stand out and do some different things.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I'm not going to blame Tony Khan for him right now. I just think that the way he's producing himself, right? I just think, right, I don't think anything to do with like the gray hair. I think it's just overall the package that he's putting out there just isn't world title caliber.
Especially now.
Right now, especially.
Yeah. Huh. You guys, we kind of glossed over. I started because we were talking about Anarchy in the Arena. Elite back together. What's your guys' thoughts about Hangman, Kenny, and the Bucks being one happy family again?
It makes my heart feels full. I like it.
I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that for later on in our podcast.
Okay, cool. Right. Perfect. That's all I need to know. So now I'll switch minds. I got another one. I had like two in the tuck for the TFW moment. I was like, if we're going to talk about Hangman.
Or you could just go and do two TFW moments of the week.
No,
you could just be like me.
Direction. Hey, before we continue or maybe even go to the TFW moment of the week, if you guys don't have anything else AEW related, we have not gotten our Google moment of the week yet from you, Rhodesia.
Well, I had it, but no, I don't want to go there.
That's when you get something on the fly and you just say, "Oh yeah,
I'm not that quick with it. I can't do that. I need.
We've had an hour and 33 minutes and 29 seconds of this show. Think about something that we've talked about. Where you're like, you could have even Googled.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Actually, stop. Actually, I said it earlier in the podcast. I brought up Wikipedia. The Nitro. I put up Nitro logo versus AEW Collision logo. I said it side by side. So I did mention Wikipedia.
But that's not helping the fans. Like you didn't say like, hey, I didn't know about Demolition won their first tag team champions in 1988, December 13th in New Jersey.
Oh, there we go. You just said it for me.
I just made it up. So that's probably not real.
Oh, okay.
You thought I looked it up?
Oh, I don't know. But I like that.
Right.
Let's roll with that. So Demolition won their first tag team championship in 1998 in New Jersey.
98?
What'd you say?
They were working in 98.
88?
They retired by
88?
God rest their souls.
1988?
They were not working in 1998. They rolled over in their grave right now. Axe Smash and what was the other guy's name? Crush.
Crush.
Kona Crush. All right, guys. Anything else? AEW or anything else that you guys wanted to bring up that we didn't get to?
Yeah, I'm good.
I think it's time for that moment we've all been waiting for.
It is time for the TFW moment of the week. My boy E just kind of gave the shimmy on what his is, so I would not take his, but mine's will be from Dynamite. And I wish they would have made a bigger deal of it. I wish they would have plastered it everywhere, and they did not. But it is Orange Cassidy's entrance, where he comes out and he gets one sparkler that goes from the ground to the sky. And they didn't mention anything about it. I thought it was one of the better entrances I've seen all year, and they kind of just glossed over it. That should have been a moment. That should have been a moment that they talked about. Like, even his pyro is tired. Something. Give me something so people saw it. Because if you didn't know any better, one, you probably could have missed it, or two, you may have thought it was a malfunction. And it was not a malfunction. That's the way it was supposed to be. I thought it was great. Hopefully they continue to do that. But my TFW moment of the week is Orange Cassidy and his ridiculous pyro for his entrance.
So my Google moment of the week, I just looked it up. The opposite in the Wikipedia, the opposite of Cody pyro package is Orange Cassidy.
I like that.
Oh, God. Okay.
OCP.
All right. So for me, I know last week I said I was going to actually do 3 moment of the weeks because you was hating on my 2 moment of the weeks. And then quite frankly, I couldn't find any until the 11th hour. And it was
I'm muting up right now.
It's the fall count, or it's falls count anywhere, not proper grammar, between Roddy Strong and Jericho. Eshaun, I know you can't stand Jericho or you just like to him, but my goodness, this match was incredible. Those chops, like he had, Matt was trying to sell a little bit of my thunder there. Those chops was impressive. He even had some forearms. The match was produced so perfectly. The interaction between when they got out the ring, through the crowd, even back in the arena, that were in the concessions, and you had even a quick moment where you see the sign that says seat filler waiting area, which I was like, how did they get that there? Or how did they not show that? But all of that, the whole interaction, the security guards almost knocking over the cameraman because they were trying to keep it together for the two of them. And then at the end, he goes outside and they beat Jericho in the dirt. My goodness, Jericho is a consummate veteran. He put Roddy over. He made him look strong, no pun intended. And because of that, that is my TFW moment of the week.
You know, I'm almost tempted to go back and watch that match because I had to go poo during that match. And I came back just in time to see Adam Cole out there beating up on Chris Jericho. So maybe I need to go back and watch that match. I probably won't at all. But yeah, so I alluded to it very, very briefly. My TFW moment of the week was the Elite reuniting. And it felt so good. And you know what? Here's also another part why I was so happy that we can finally get past this. They've been teasing them guys getting back together for 5 years. They've been making googly eyes at each other, and they've been sending text messages to each other. They've been showing it on Twitter. Finally, it's over. We can stop the tease, and we can just move on with the story against the BCC. So it was great to have them back. Moving forward, yeah.
There it is, guys. Yes, you can.
I just knew that either you, Matt, or you, Eshaun, was going to bring up Cody's promo against Brock.
No,
that was going to be a moment.
See, you have this mistaken. Eshaun really isn't the big Cody fan the way he says he is. He just uses it as like his gimmick on the show, and he gives us good content with it, and it should be content over everything. I understand, but that's like the third time now that something should have been his TFW moment of the week with Cody. He glossed right over it. He probably didn't even watch the entire promo because Cody killed it on Monday.
He killed it. Okay, sorry.
Hey, so to be 100%, I didn't finish watching Raw. I fell asleep on that bad boy. I ain't watch it. I was tired, man. Look, that's a 3-hour show. After I get the kids into bed, it's like 9-something o'clock. And I can't stay up past like 9:45 right now. I can't do it.
We're gonna get you off. We're gonna get you off right now. Go back and watch that promo. Come back next week. You know what? We'll even let you use that as your TFW moment of the week. Granted, it'd be a week past, But if that didn't get you hype, it should have got you hype.
Let me tell you something. If I were to pick a Cody moment, that's all we'll talk about on this show. It's Cody, because he is the hottest thing in wrestling. The hottest thing.
I thought you were going to say, I'm not going to pick a Cody moment until he wins the championship. I'm like, damn, you're not going to have a TFW moment of the week for Cody until 2028. That's insanity. Thank you guys for listening. As always, hey, thank you for your support. Put the word out. Best podcast going right now. That's Freaking Wrestling. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Check us out. We are here every single week. We will be back next week. We probably got to talk about if we're going to add a second show, because there is no way in the world we're going to be able to talk about Battleground, Double or Nothing, and Night of Champions and do our regular podcast. So stay tuned. We may do a second show somewhere, somehow around there for you guys. All right. But until then, thank you guys. We will talk to you next week.